moment.
I'll just get my calendar up, but other than that, no.
And I apologize, I do not know your name.
Oh, sorry, Liesl Nelson from Nelson Defense Group.
Lisa?
Liesl, it's like the sound of music. It's Liesl. Thank you.
All right. All right, okay. We will go on the record in the matter 26 CF 73, State of Wisconsin versus Mark Byers. The state appears through District Attorney Kevin Schmidt in person. Mr. Byers appears in person in custody with counsel Liesl Nelson making a special appearance on his behalf here today by the Aaron Nelson's law office. We're set today in this matter for an initial appearance. Ms. Nelson, were you able to go over the criminal complaint?
Yes, we received a copy. We'll waive further reading.
All righty. Would you like to have a prelim within time limits?
I think that'll depend. We did file a bond motion to have that reviewed.
I saw the bond motion. I read the bond motion. I'm not sure if it was timely within 5 days. I don't know. Is there victims' rights compliance?
Yes.
Yes, victims' rights compliance. All right, go ahead. Argue.
Your Honor, there was a fairly significant cash bond that was set for Mr. Byers without any hearing whatsoever. He does have some pretty significant factors in terms of his ties to the community. He was raised here on a farm in Grantsburg. The family farm still exists. His parents are living there. His family still lives here. He recently bought a house in Luck, so he owns property here. Really, all of his ties at this point are to the community. He does have the ability to post some cash bond, but certainly not the amount that was initially set for him. I think based on all of his ties to the community, his lack of criminal history, his lack of ever having failed to make an appearance, I don't think there's any reason at this point there is any reason to issue any sort of cash bond for him. I think there's been some suggestion that he's a flight risk, but all of his ties to the community, his family, everything else, owning property, I think does not suggest that he has any kind of flight risk.
All right. Mr. Schmidt.
State's position is that the court got the bond correct the first time. The defendant faces 44 years and 6 months of possible imprisonment in the criminal complaint. Counts 1 through 3 are violent crimes within the meaning of the bail statute. That means based solely on that alone. The court can determine there is a reasonable basis to believe that bail is necessary based upon the totality of the circumstances. Defendant has previously had ties to Wisconsin from when he was younger and moved back here recently. However, defendant only recently came back to Wisconsin after selling his home in Montana. According to police reports, Byers quit his job as a school bus driver at the school district he was at there when the school district told him that his relationship with one of the high school boys was a violation of policy and state law. That prompted him to leave selling his house for $810,000 and coming here. According to police reports, at least one of the boys in Montana he bought a car for. His current boyfriend, he also bought an Audi for. He comes here flush out of a lot of money. So I believe this is a person who actually has tremendous means, and that the $10,000 proposed in the bond modification motion and today the no cash proposed by defense, I think is.
I don't think it was no cash. They asked for 10.
I think what I said was I didn't think cash was necessary, but I certainly think that a reduction to 10 would be much more reasonable than where it's set currently.
That's what I read in the motion.
Sure.
Sorry.
That is what is in the motion. I interpret her as saying cash isn't appropriate at all because of connections to the community. I think that his connections to the community were at one point distant when he was younger. He only came back here recently. There's at least the appearance he could be running away from something in Montana. He has a passport. He has strong connections to Montana. I think that the $100,000 is appropriate. I think it's a fraction of his overall wealth. Thank you.
Your Honor, yeah, if I could. He still has some ties to the state of Montana. I would point out that he does not have any criminal charges or anything else pending in Montana that would suggest any of those accusations have any weight. In terms of the maximum penalties, I think we all know that those maximum penalties are generally speaking not something that we see, even if there is a conviction. In terms of his, ability to travel to Montana, everything is extraditable from Montana. He's very well aware of that. It does not serve him to make that decision. He's very well aware that if he's ever extradited from Montana, he's going to bear the cost of that, and he has no interest in putting himself at that kind of risk. And if there are concerns about international travel, certainly there's other conditions that the court can set that would meet that concern rather than just holding him in custody on an enormous cash bond. It's just not necessary to meet the court's objectives.
Does he own his home outright or is it mortgaged?
The home that he owns in Lucknow is owned outright.
And that is 1913 260th Avenue, correct?
Yes.
What did you pay for the house?
For 50 something, I think. For 40.
I would just note, Your Honor, that, he has been sitting now for over 3 weeks on that cash bond. So a suggestion that, his enormous basis of wealth allows him to post, a significant amount, I think is misleading. If he had the ability to do that, he would have done it before today's date.
And that's why
Sure. Sorry.
that's also why the state point out the sole consideration is not simply setting the minimum amount necessary and also considerations of likelihood to flee. It's also the totality of the circumstances because of the violent offenses. We go down both tranches here. There's worries for both, as the state has highlighted. One, the concern about he's never faced charges before, and these are overwhelmingly scary charges, and he has tremendous means. If this were a person coming to the court saying, hey, I'm impoverished, I make $10,000 a year, reduce my bond to something lower, that might make more sense. But with somebody who has tremendous wealth, reducing the cash bond to such a low amount in comparison to that, I don't see how that would affect his decision to appear in court in the future at all. $10,000 means nothing to him. Thank you.
Your Honor, he would just like the court to know that that number in terms of the home that he sold in Montana is inaccurate. He did not sell a home for $810,000. So that is not an amount of cash that was available to him above and beyond on what he bought his new home for.
In a letter prior to him retaining counsel, Ms. Nelson, in a letter that he wrote to the court, he did indicate he had no problem offering his home for a property bond. And knowing that he owns it outright, I mean, there's more to, it's not just as simple as just saying he's going to offer the house or property bond. There's steps, obviously, that to make it all official. But what the court would be willing to do, lowering it to $25,000 cash, putting his home up as a property bond, that's a significant amount that he could lose if he were to abscond. Because if you abscond and you fail to come to court, you could forfeit your entire home to the County of Burnett. You understand that, Mr. Byers?
Yes.
And with the conditions, there's going to be more conditions on the bond. Right now, you must maintain absolute sobriety. You shall not use or possess any alcohol, no bars, taverns, liquor stores, beer tents, casinos, anything that's a primary purpose for the sale or the service of alcohol. You're subject to random testing of your blood, breath, or urine by law enforcement officers upon arrest or reasonable suspicion, or if on the court's directive, if I have suspicion that you are under the influence at any time. You shall not have any contact with anyone, not anyone, under the age of 18. You shall not use any cellular telephones with internet or any other phones with internet capability. You may not have internet at your home. That is going to be a change. No internet at your home. There is no out-of-state travel. You must turn over your passport if you have one. Do you have a passport?
Yes.
Okay, then that must be turned over prior to release.
In terms of the out-of-state travel, would the court give an exception for going into Minnesota for business purposes? He's going to be working on the family farm, and part of what he can do for them is do transportation back and forth to like the Twin Cities. Can there be an exception for like the bordering state?
You only go as far as the Twin Cities,
St. Paul, yes.
St. Paul. He'll have the exception to go out of state for business purposes only, but he may not venture any further west or north or south of the Twin Cities metropolis area.
Can you, and I'm sure you're going to type up the bond. I want to make sure that I understand no internet at home. What was your order in terms of cellular devices?
No cellular telephone that has the internet capability. So he has to go back to old school.
Okay.
And he may not be on any social media, obviously, with no internet, but no social media access. And I think we need to get corp counsel involved. I think with the property bond, she is going to need to be a part of that to ensure that it's done correctly. So you owe absolutely nothing on your home except real estate taxes.
Correct.
I'm also going to order random alcohol and other drug testing with our justice coordinator. That costs $25 a time. Is that going to be an inconvenience?
No.
She will call you on a wheel or whatever color wheel, and if you're picked or whatever, you'll get called to come, and you'll be told a certain amount of hours. I think it's 3 hours to be there. If you fail to appear, that is deemed a positive test. If you fail to appear, not only is it deemed positive, you will be revoked immediately from bond, and it will be reinstated to $100,000 plus if you test positive. Okay.
I'm only worried about that there may be a delay in how long it takes to put the bond
Business.
together, but then also how long it takes him to obtain a phone. So I'm just putting that on the record that if he's got to figure all of that out, just that they're aware that calling him day one might be challenging if he doesn't have a phone that he can use to answer. But
And I understand. Do you have a landline?
No.
Also, parents, names, telephone number.
James Byers, Marlene Byers.
What's their telephone number?
My dad's number is 715-222-8895. And my mom's number is 715-222-8894.
Just in case we
I
can't
think.
get a hold of you. We have additional numbers that I can give the justice coordinator.
Are
When
you
do
at?
you believe can you have somebody get your
Ye-
passport and turn that over?
Yes.
How soon can you have that done?
I suppose in a day or two,
maybe
or should be a day.
close the business on Friday.
Yeah.
I think we could aim for that.
other conditions that you're seeing, Mr. Schmidt?
Two I would request are no pornography and no liens, loans, or encumbrances against the property.
Good. I didn't even think about that. No no use or possession of any pornography of any kind. And no ability to place any liens or other such matters on your property. You can't go and get a mortgage now. You can't put any other lien on your property. Okay, let me see. Just trying to see the requirements for the bond or for the property bond. I believe he will need a title opinion.
If he is able to post the cash portion of the bond, can we set a time limit by which the property bond portion needs to be completed so that he's not held up indefinitely by the paperwork of the property bond?
I'm not going to make a decision on that right now, but I can tell you, I just want to double check with Corporation Counsel that we do this correctly.
Okay.
And once I get the steps that we need, then I'll let you know. Because quite honestly, we've only had a few property bonds since I've been on the bench, 8 years. So just want to make sure everything's done correctly. But Ms. Nelson, I'm not sure, you've never been in front of me before. I do things quickly. So I will look into that right away. And I will get you an answer. Any other conditions, except setting? Now we need to set preliminary hearing.
I would like to try and do it just because we're unsure of what his custody status is. I'm hesitant to waive that timeline until I know. Can we take a look at calendars and just see if we can get it within a 10-day time frame?
I totally understand. We could do it June. Well, it all depends. I'm going to tell you, I don't know. How long do you think that the preliminary hearing will be? Sometimes I know Mr. Nelson, when he's been here, it's been longer ones and I need to set aside longer time.
I'm not going to pretend to know how much time he might estimate. I would say, to be safe, I might put aside an hour, but I don't know that I would put aside more than that. Looks like
The 16th, I had something open up, so quite honestly, I could just block the whole day.
Let's see, he's got a 4 o'clock and he's got a 1:30, but that looks like that's a Zoom. The morning, he could maybe do an 11 o'clock.
As long as he can guarantee only an hour.
Yeah, let's try that.
11 o'clock on June 16th.
And there's the big turning point. The judge cuts the cash bond to $25,000, but adds the defendant's home as a property bond. That means this isn't simply pay less and walk away. If he violates the conditions or fails to appear, that property could be at risk. And the restrictions that follow are anything but minor. No alcohol, no contact with anyone under 18, no internet at home, no social media, no out-of-state travel without a specific exception, and even random drug and alcohol testing. The court is clearly trying to balance the presumption of release with serious concerns about flight risk and the allegations. Would you consider these conditions fair? Or does this still feel